The moment this news dropped, Cowboys Nation practically exploded, and honestly, the entire NFL world has been buzzing ever since because what we're hearing right now is absolutely wild. The Dallas Cowboys, America's team, the franchise always surrounded by drama, pressure, and sky-high expectations, are suddenly being linked to a potential blockbuster move involving superstar running back Alvin Kamara. A move so shocking and so aggressive that insiders are describing it as one of the boldest maneuvers the Cowboys have considered in years, maybe even in the post-Romo, post-Dez era, and the craziest part is that it's not coming from some vague whisper or random speculation. No, this is being tied directly to conversations happening at the highest levels of the Cowboys organization, conversations that reportedly include Jerry Jones himself, and when Jerry Jones' name is involved, you know something big is brewing because the man has never shied away from swinging for the fences when he L's opportunity, when he sees a window to push the Cowboys back into championship contention, and this latest rumor, this sudden, urgent surge of energy around a possible Alvin Kamara acquisition has fans asking one question louder than any other: could the Cowboys really pull this off? The idea of Alvin Kamara wearing the star on his helmet is the kind of thing that would have sounded like pure fantasy even a year ago. But the circumstances today, both with the Cowboys and with Kamara's situation, have created this bizarrely perfect storm where the move not only seems possible but strategically logical, which is what's blowing people's minds right now, because Dallas has been stuck in this weird offensive limbo, trying to build around Dak Prescott, trying to support CeeDee Lamb, agreeing to revitalize the run game after losing Ezekiel Elliott and watching Tony Pollard walk, and fans have been begging, pleading, yelling into the void for the front office to stop settling for mediocre rotational running backs and instead go land a proven, elite, game-changing RB1 who can carry the offense when needed, who can relieve pressure on Dak, who can break open tight defensive schemes, and who can finally return Dallas to the kind of balanced defensive identity they had during their most dominant stretches. And Alvin Kamara, with his rare mix of vision, acceleration, receiving ability, lateral quickness, and veteran awareness, is exactly the kind of player who can transform an offense instantly. He's not just a runner, he's a weapon, a chess piece, a matchup nightmare who forces defensive coordinators to throw away entire play sheets because there's simply no comfortable way to defend him when he's lined up next to a top-tier quarterback. And imagine for a second Kamara in motion, Kamara in the slot, Kamara leaking out for screens behind Zach Martin, Kamara taking delayed draws, Kamara running wheel routes while CeeDee Lamb commands double coverage. Suddenly the Cowboys' offense becomes unpredictable, explosive, layered, multidimensional, and that's exactly what Jerry Jones reportedly wants as he evaluates this team going into the next chapter. Now, what's even more insane is this idea circulating around the league that the Cowboys are gearing up for what insiders are calling a $300 million offensive overhaul. And while that number initially made fans lose their minds because it sounded like the Cowboys were about to offer Kamara some impossible mega deal, the real meaning behind it is far more calculated and far more interesting. The $300 million figure allegedly refers to the total financial structure Dallas is willing to commit to. Ward reshaping the entire offense, extensions, restructures, signings, trades, cap maneuvers, essentially a full rebuild of the offensive identity centered around maximizing Dak Prescott's window, and Kamara, according to these emerging reports, would be a centerpiece of that plan, one of the key pillars of a new elite tier attack that Jerry Jones wants to build before time runs out, before the current core ages out of its competitive prime. And say what you want about Jerry, some call him impulsive, some call him overly dramatic, some say he loves splashy moves just for the headlines, but nobody can deny that when he decides to go all in, he goes all in, and the idea that he has personally approved or at least green-lit the exploration of this trade tells you everything you need to know. Dallas is tired of being almost there. Tired of winning regular season games only to collapse in January, tired of being mocked every time the playoffs come around, tired of being labeled pretenders rather than contenders, and if this move happens, if Kamara actually lands in Dallas, It would be the single strongest signal in years that the Cowboys are not content settling for mediocrity. They want to win now, not next season, not in some distant rebuild, but right this second. And think about the ripple effects. The NFC East would be forced to react instantly. Defensive coordinators would have to prepare for a completely different Cowboys team, one that can hurt you deep, short, inside, outside, on the ground, through the air. Dak Prescott, who has faced more criticism than almost any quarterback in the league, suddenly has a dynamic, elite partner in the backfield. CeeDee Lamb sees fewer double teams. Jake Ferguson becomes even more dangerous in play action. The Cowboys' offensive line gets easier matchups because defenses can't overload the pass rush when Kamara is a constant threat for screens or angle routes. The psychological impact on the team alone would be massive. A statement of aggression like this shifts locker room energy, boosts confidence, sends a message to players that the front office believes in them enough to invest heavily, and it tells opponents that Dallas is done playing passive, done tiptoeing, done hesitating. Of course, the Saints' perspective is also key here because they're dealing with cap issues, aging pieces, a shifting identity, and Kamara nearing the end of his current contract, which means this might be one of the last moments where they can extract real value from him before he either walks or declines or becomes financially inefficient. So the timing, the circumstances, the roster needs it all aligns in this incredibly dramatic way, creating a situation where a Cowboys-Kamara trade is no longer some far-fetched fever dream but an actual, tangible possibility being discussed at the highest levels, and fans are going crazy because they can feel it, they can smell it, they can sense that something is happening behind closed doors, that the Cowboys are moving, planning, scheming, preparing for a leap. And the second this story broke, the reaction was immediate and electric across social media: excitement, panic, celebration, debate, fear, hope, all of it crashing into one giant tidal wave of emotion because Kamara to Dallas would change everything. And honestly, even beyond the football fit, the money, the strategy, the ripple effects, there's the pure entertainment factor. This is the kind of storyline that shakes the entire league, that sparks round-the-clock coverage, that has talk shows foaming at the mouth to argue about whether the Cowboys are geniuses or reckless gamblers, that makes rivals furious because they don't want to deal with yet another superstar joining Dallas, and that energizes a fan base that has been desperate for a bold move, a real move, not lip service, not cheap replacements, not half measures, but a franchise-altering statement. And as the speculation continues, as analysts break down trade packages, as insiders hint that talks are progressing and momentum is building, Cowboys fans are sitting on the edge of their seats because they know that when Jerry Jones starts circling a superstar, history shows that he doesn't circle for long. He pounces, he pushes, he negotiates, he pressures. He does whatever it takes to bring big names to Dallas, and if Kamara is truly on his radar, if this is really happening behind the scenes, then we may be on the verge of one of the biggest Cowboys acquisitions of the last decade, maybe longer. The anticipation, the speculation, the hype, it's all colliding right now in this massive swirl of urgency and excitement, and whether this trade is finalized in hours, days, or never materializes at all, the very fact that the Cowboys are in this conversation tells you everything you need to know about where this franchise is mentally. They're done waiting, done playing it safe, done being conservative, and they are absolutely ready to take a high-stakes swing for the kind of superstar who can elevate them from good to great, from competitive to dangerous, from hopeful to legitimately threatening. And if Alvin Kamara ends up in a Dallas Cowboys uniform, the entire landscape of the NFC might never look the same again.